A few months ago, I was at a bookstore and I happened to find these Copic technique books. I thought to myself I can always get better at my craft, so I went ahead and bought them. So hi everyone, I'm Ward and welcome to my channel Wardrawsalot, and this week we're going to be using the techniques from this book to create a drawing. Now, although I bought them a while ago, I really haven't gotten the chance to use it. I did use it maybe one time, but I kind of put them away and waited for another time to use them, and I haven't found the time, so I decided to make a video so this way I can kind of force myself to use them. Both of these books have like really good step-by-step processes on how to color, how to blend, what marker paper is best to use, what kind of techniques are best for coloring, especially when it comes to really detailed art or just beginner items as well. Sometimes you just need a little step-by-step process to kind of give you the head start that you need to understand what you're going to be using to color. Now, although these are Copic marker techniques, you can definitely use them with any kind of marker. It's just that because Copic markers are more expensive and kind of notarized, people are going to make books about how to use them properly, so you're not just, wasting up the Copic marker ink. The book that I'm mainly going to be using for this video is the one on the right called Manga Artists Copic Marker Coloring Techniques. Now, these are actually made by a bunch of online artists and have put together a wonderful book for people to kind of experience how to use the markers correctly and the techniques and everything. I bought these personally because I feel like it's always good to support artists, regardless of if they're big artists or small ones. It's always nice to kind of push that out there. If you can't afford something like that though, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to buy anything. That's why some people like me make little tutorials online using these books so you could see how they kind of work. For today's video, we're mostly going to be focusing on how to color a pearl. The reason why, I just thought it was really pretty, so I wanted to draw it on a character. These are the colors that we're going to be using. They do state in the book which colors you're supposed to use, and if you want, you could just find some similar ones. They don't have to be exact. So what I'm going to be doing is 2 attempts. The first one is following the book directly, and the second one is me just kind of doing it on my own to see how much I've learned in that short span of time. We have a little snippet from the book that says how to color a pearl, creating roundness. Pearls are white in real life but require additional colors to read as pearls in illustrations. Using contrast colors like pink and blue creates transparency that cannot be made with white alone. The pearl's shine is conveyed with carefully placed highlights. Under that, they give the little colors used. I didn't use opaque white because I don't have it anymore. I don't like it that much, so I'm just using my white gel pen. The first step says to put down the colorless blender so you can leave that for the highlights of the pearl where the light is hitting it the most. The second step says to take that really light blue or BG000 and put it mostly in the middle, and then that really light pinkish purple or V000 and put it along the sides and almost at the top edge of the blue. But since I didn't kind of do that, I kind of just did it on top of the white spaces, which I don't think you're supposed to do, but I never followed directions, correctly. So the third step is to take the warm gray or W0 and put it along the bottom half so it could help create roundness of the pearl, which I think it helped do, but I didn't do it correctly again, so it was kind of a mess up. But I could see kind of where the whole idea of the pearl is coming through with these colors. It's just that I completely forgot to keep the roundness in mind, so later on I remembered to do that. I did use a brown liner to go around, and I kind of left little gaps in between to kind of portray that it is like a pearl. Maybe next time I'll do a little less liner, or I'll use a different color to kind of keep it soft. So again, it looks more like a pearl, because right now it's kind of giving bubble to me, but it's also, my first try with it. So I'm not going to beat myself up too much about it. Then the last step, of course, is adding the white highlight where it needs to go. I think I originally put too much white highlight, so it kind of looked weird. I did use my Signiball pen first, but it was giving me an attitude, so I put it down and I grabbed my Artex white acrylic paint marker instead, and that was giving me an attitude too. It looked like nothing in the white supply category wanted to work with me that day. That's cool. I just be like that sometimes. Finally, I finished the first attempt, and what I always do personally is after my first attempt, I immediately look away from the reference, and then I go ahead and try and do it off my mind while it's still fresh. This time I decided to move around the little, what's it called? Highlight? There we go, the highlight of the pearl. So this way I could kind of get an idea of how to do it, even if it's in a different position, lighting-wise, because that one, the light is supposed to be directly on it from above, so this one I thought what if the lighting was a little bit more towards the side. I do see that I tried to keep the roundness here a little bit better. What I failed to do, I think, was properly mix in where the gray tone is supposed to go, because the gray tone is supposed to help create more of a shadow, and although I see that here, I also don't see enough of it. So I think next time when I go in to color it in a pearl, I'm going to remember to blend more of the gray in so it can create a much deeper shadow, because otherwise it's just kind of reading off as, actually I don't know, maybe still bubble, I'm not sure, but I realized this after I finished coloring it as well. So from here, after I completed the second attempt, I went ahead and took it over to a drawing, so this way not only can I see what I've done, but apply it to an actual piece of art. This is the drawing that I ended up going with. It's a girl with very large pearls around her neck, along with a pearl earring and little pearl beads that are on the top of her bun. I thought the more I kind of colored them in, the better practice it is for me to do them. Since I practiced beforehand with those two large pearls, I think I was able to translate it much better in a smaller scale. I went ahead and basically followed the same exact steps that they taught in the book and that I practiced as well. I think that the size of the pearls probably makes a difference because of the fact that they are larger. They may not read off as pearls just as great. However, I do think they still read off as pearls, which I'm happy about. Of course, I would need more practice to make sure that they look exactly what they look like, but otherwise, I think that they came out pretty nice. What probably also could have helped me out was if I erased a little bit of the sketch beforehand. I usually don't do that. I like to keep the sketch down and let that blend in with the Copic markers because it looks nice in my opinion. But when it comes to the case of these pearls right here, which are mostly white, the pink is definitely going to show up a little bit more. What I probably could have done, and now that I'm thinking about it, is taking that the colorless blender, and blend around the edge of the pearls to kind of help melt away that pink, so this way it looks more like a pearl, you get what I'm saying. But again, I still think they read off perfectly fine as pearls. It's just that because they are bigger, it's gonna look a little bit weird. Next time I'll do some smaller ones. I also could have colored around the edges a little bit more because it looks like I was afraid to kind of go a little closer to the edge, because in the book it read off like that the edges should be white, but it's too much edge and not enough color. So I think putting the color a little bit closer towards the edge of it would have helped a lot. On top of that, maybe adding a little bit more white so it could read off as like a shiny white pearl, because remember, the whole point of this is that we're adding a little bit of color to give the pearl dimension. Otherwise it's just this white circular object and it doesn't really read off too well because there's no dimension to it, so it would just be a flat object without those colors. I wonder if you could have probably used any other colors as well, but it looks like pink and blue are nice and soft enough and kind of give off the illusion of a pearl, which is why they decided to go with those colors. But I kind of want to experiment on my own and see if they have any other like colors that would work with it. So I'm going to definitely do that when I have the time. For the drawing itself, I wanted a character that was kind of like a modern classic. So we have the hair done up, it's blonde hair, a lot of pearls to make her look very rich and almost on the elegant side. But I also wanted the twist of what they consider not to be elegant, which would be a tooth gap. Now, I personally love teeth gaps. I think they're so cool and they give a nice character to a person and they just look pretty. They really do to me. So I wanted to give her the unconventional beauty, but at the same time give her the beauty standard of the elegance, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a nice contrast between the two, because a lot of the time things are read off as only this one kind of stereotype, like an elegant person is this, which it is not. Elegant can be in many different forms and ways and look many different ways as well. So that's why I kind of wanted to make this piece almost like as if she's this rich, elegant girl, but she doesn't necessarily look, quote unquote, look the elegant way that they want her to, which I love personally. I love the fact that she's got these beautiful red lips and they're really pouty with a tooth gap. I like the fact that she has these really big eyes and like they're covered in eyeshadow and everything, so it's like a nice little piece in my opinion. I really like the way she comes out, or she came out, I'm sorry, and I literally have gone back to the book just to look at her a few times because she's like so pretty to me and I love her, and I just really enjoy the fact that I put that kind of together. I also think this is probably the first time, or maybe it's been a long time since I've done a tooth gap. I just really like the way it looks, and I think it gives her so much more personality when you look at her. There's just these little human things on us, right, that just give us that kind of personality, whether it's like a teeth gap or tooth gap, a scar, freckles, color discoloration of the skin, things like vitiligo, albinism, all that kind of stuff that gives people wonderful traits and personalities and all this stuff, and looks so nice and unique and beautiful because it is. So that's why I kind of like to do it every once in a while when I remember to, at the very least. So yeah, this is the final product of the drawing. I think the pearls came out pretty nice. I think the drawing came out nice as well. She has such a gorgeous look to her. I'm like in love with her. And I honestly had a lot of fun doing it. Let me know if you guys want me to do more tutorials from the book, because I would love to show that on camera as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, and remember, I love you. Bye.